folks, a very good morning to you on this, the 22nd day. uh, oh, you're going to find out why I'm cracking up. 22nd day of the month. It's the middle of the week. It's Wednesday morning. And I'm George Grant. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Now, what the heck is he laughing at to start the program? What's cracking him up? I don't think I've seen this happen before. But guess who's first this morning? Must be really cold in New York. Mags is the winner this morning. Can you believe that? I don't believe it. Well, congratulations, Miss Francis. Margaret Francis, first up. Thank you. John Franco is there. So is Anthea Rollo and Peter Bishop. Oh, yeah, man. Nice to see you guys this morning. Pilgrims, before I get into the rundown, just let me, I want to show you something. It's a beautiful morning. Yesterday we had a fabulous day here in Grenada, just loads and loads of sunshine, and I think we had 3 cruise ships, right? Well, this morning, I took a look at the schedule, and I see 3 ships listed, but I only see 2 biggies this morning. And I mean biggies. Well, at least one is a real biggie, mampy. And the other one is a kind of so-so biggie, all right? And they are, take a look. This is the view from our balcony here just a few minutes ago. That's Margaret saying she's, not Margaret, Sherron saying that she's on her way, so let's put her away there. Yeah, the ship in the back is the Preziosa, which has a capacity of 3,959, and the one closer to us is the Aurora, which has a capacity of, let's see here, 1,878. So you're looking at what? 5,700 plus today. The third ship, I don't know, but I haven't seen her yet. She may or may not show up a little later on. So, folks, let's get into, before I get in the rundown, Grenada Sunshine has shown up. Margaret is cracking up. She says, that was just a matter of being at the right place at the right time. Well, 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 well. Mags, be at the right place at the right time more often. Love to see you there. Carla Ray Briggs saying good morning, happy Wednesday. Special greetings to my sister Sherron and you, Geo Bear. Yeah, Sherron, as I just mentioned, Sherron's on her way in. And we're going to be hearing from her at about the bottom of the hour. Kipling Francis is saying good morning. Peter Bishop says it's very cold today. Hey, eat your heart out, Pedro. Did you see that? Did you see the sunshine we're having down here this morning? Out of this world. And Arthur Langine is saying happy Wednesday to us. Thank you, folks. Now, brass tacks. Guyana's first shipment of crude oil is off to the United States. Yaman. Not much talk. Whole lot of action. Congratulations, Guyana. Find out about that in just a wee bit. The second thing we're going to take a look at this morning is, I guess, some fallout from an address that was delivered by CARICOM's new chairman, Mia Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados, last week, I think it was. And I see here that there's an article which appeared in an online publication saying that several Caribbean nations have rejected Pompeo's visit to Jamaica. Yeah, looks like we have another hornet's nest in the making. I'll keep you in suspense for a few minutes. Just wait. Just wait. We'll get to that story. Then we do have the national report, and then Sherron's in the house. Sherron's in the house. I have referred to her here as the beach abstainer. Both Sherron and I have been abstaining from the beach. It's okay. We'll start getting regular fixes again pretty soon. John Nosyneck has chimed in. He's saying, good morning, Gigi and the world, WARLD, from dependency number one, D1. And Lydia George, Lydia George, Lydia James is saying good morning to you guys. John Franco says, Guyana, be careful now. You have all the oil America might want to bring democracy to you. Time will tell. Arthur Langine says, where's the oil from Grenada? I don't know, Arthur. Why do you always ask me these tough questions? I don't know. It's down there. It's coming up. You know, sometimes traffic. Sometimes things are a little bit slower than you expect because of traffic. You know, we've been talking a lot about the traffic on the roads here in Grenada. Just an assumption on my humble part there. Okay, pilgrims, let's get down to business here this morning. A Marshall Islands registered oil tanker. And if I'm not mistaken, I had planned to show you a picture of that. I'm not sure I remembered. Oh boy. No, he didn't remember to put that in for you this morning. But anyhow, this is about what's happening in Guyana and their oil. And I guess for some of you, it's going to make you a little bit jealous, if you will. Anyhow, a Marshall Islands registered oil tanker, the MV Yanis, has successfully lifted Guyana's first shipment of crude, setting sail for the United States with 1 million barrels of light crude. The Guyana National Bureau of Standards, which is responsible for independently ensuring the accurate measurement of Guyana's oil from the Stabroek Block, reported that the first offloading of crude oil on the floating production, storage, and offloading commenced last Saturday morning, and all activities were executed as planned. Congratulations. Lifts are expected approximately every 10 to 12 days from henceforth. A statement from the Department of Energy said that according to many industry specialists, this first lift, due to the record set from discovery until production by the operator, sets Guyana firmly on its way to becoming one of the wealthiest countries on the globe per capita. Okay. Already, the sector has witnessed foreign direct investment in excess of $500 million US dollars. The creation of over 1,700 direct jobs. Over 600 service providers. And the establishment of over 70 joint ventures, alliances, and partnerships, which, by the way, continue to increase. I quote here, oil revenues from this venture alone are projected to realize approximately $300 million US dollars in this first year, and more than tripling over the next 5 years. This is expected to directly benefit every Guyanese during this decade of development through the provision of revenues to develop other important sectors such as agriculture, energy, and manufacturing, as well as vastly improved social and educational services, world-class infrastructure, increased wages, job opportunities, and an overall better quality of life over the long term, unquote. So says the Department of Energy. In Guyana, that is. Production in Guyana commenced on December 20th of last year, less than 5 years after the first ever commercial discovery of the 6.6 million acres Starbrook block. It is expected that up to 120,000 barrels of oil per day will be produced. To date, there has been a total of 17 oil finds in Guyana. Okay, there goes your first story this morning. Let's see here. John responds to Arthur by saying, Arthur is asking, where's the Grenadian oil? John says, Arthur, the oil is in the pipeline. Yeah, you got a really wicked sense of humor, John. And Peter Bishop wants to know if we're talking about coconut oil when we talk about oil here in Grenada. Gonna be a long day. Gonna be a long day. Bradley Vespre is joining us, and so is Arthur Langine. Okay. Margaret says, Peter Bishop, you can't even get coconut oil to make oil these days. It's worse than gru. Get down to business, George. Get serious. Pilgrims, story number 2. Looks like Mia Motley's statement last week has resonated with other Caribbean leaders. Apparently so. Here's a release from an online publication called Telesur English. Let me quote here for you verbatim. It says, the Caribbean nations are standing in defiance of Pompeo's attempts to split up the region and isolate friendly countries. The Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Motley, recently announced that her country was not sending their foreign minister to Jamaica in order to attend a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Motley, citing Barbados's commitment to remaining neutral and non-aggression towards other nations, said her government would not take part in the U.S. attempts to divide the Caribbean region. Let me quote here. I am conscious that when Errol Barrow stood and remarked that we shall be friends of all and satellites of none, little did he know that that statement would be embraced by every single prime minister of government that succeeded him. It is as valid today, perhaps even more so, than it was at the time of its initial delivery. Unquote. That's what Mia Motley had to say. Quote, as chairman of CARICOM, it is impossible for me to agree that my foreign minister should attend a meeting with anyone to which members of CARICOM are not invited. If some are invited, and not all, then it is an attempt to divide this region. So says Mia Motley. This lady means business. Barbados will not be alone, however, since 2 more Caribbean nations have joined them in boycotting the upcoming Pompeo meeting. According to a new statement from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, their government supports Barbados's position and will not send a representative to meet with Pompeo in Kingston, Jamaica. The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Rowley, said Barbados's Prime Minister Mia Motley has his country's support. PM Motley has the full support of the government and the people of Trinidad and Tobago in outlining our principles and vision of Caribbean community and the expectation of Caribbean. Let me read that again. P.M. Motley. This is a quote, by the way, from the Prime Minister of Trinidad, Prime Minister Rowley. He said, P.M. Motley has the full support of the government and people of Trinidad and Tobago in outlining our principles and vision of Caribbean unity and the expectation of Caribbean unity. The Prime Minister of Barbados speaks for Trinidad and Tobago. So says Mr. Rowley. Also joining Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago is Grenada, who vowed not to attend this meeting that seeks to divide the Caribbean. I want to talk with Sherron about that. And by the way, Sherron just popped in here. We'll talk about that in a wee bit. The U.S. has used the Caribbean as a way to isolate countries like Venezuela and Cuba, as the shipping lanes to these nations have been blockaded by them. That's the end of the quote from that online newspaper I told you about. We'll talk more about that in just a wee bit. Now, 17 minutes after the hour back here. John Nosynek wants to know what Margaret means by gru-gru. Gru-gru days. For those of us who grew up here, you heard that term very often as kids. When you talk about, gru-gru days, nowadays you say, man, time's tough. Eh? Time's tough. We scrunting. Eh? That's what it means. And Margaret is responding herself. She says, John, gru-gru is or was a palm tree that bore a lickle, not little, a lickle, L-I-K-K-L-E, a lickle fruit with a nut inside, hold on, with a nut inside, a very hard shell. There were prickles at the very top of the tree. See Sherron going, Margaret, thank you very much. Margaret was first this morning, by the way, logging on. Margaret, I didn't even know that. I just know that gru-gru days are like hard times, okay? Arthur Langine says, congratulations to the PM of Barbados on her decision. She reminds me of Brother Bishop. Oh, yeah. Benedict Cador is asking who was not invited to the meeting. I'm not sure, Benedict. Can't answer that one. Let's see here. Joyce E. Smith is saying good morning from London. Okay, folks, enough of that. Let's take our first little break here now, and we're going to come back with the national report. Keep Sherron waiting just a little bit. She keeps me company. We'll all talk while you guys are watching the national.
Inspection and licensing have begun, and at Hubbard's, we want you to be ready. From January to February 15th, we're offering vehicle owners with single registration letters 1 to 2,500 and plural registration letters 1 to 250, 10% off our new torque tires and Power Max batteries. Don't get caught unprepared. Visit us today at our motor department in Mungay or our tire bay in Grandance, located near Hubbard's Building Supplies.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Quad Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Together with you, our customers. we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us
as we energize our Spice Island.
GRENLEC, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Government invests 26 million EC dollars in St. George's University scholarships for January 2020. Details to this story and more in the National Report. Welcome back. With the details to the news for Tuesday, January 21st, 2020, I am Sherron Noel. Government, through its partnership with St. George's University, has invested $26 million in scholarships for January 2020. This sizable investment is being made through an increased number of scholarships being awarded this year. There is also an increase in the level of enrollment for this semester. Minister with responsibility for tertiary education and skills development, Honorable Pamela Moses, made the announcement on Tuesday during the government's weekly post-cabinet briefing. Minister Moses explained that additional scholarships were awarded in arts and science, medicine and veterinary medicine, including nursing.
The government of Grenada and St. George's University are very happy to announce this morning an increase of scholarships for January 2020 semester. In the area of arts and science undergraduate, we have been able to provide an additional 19 scholarships for this semester, January 2020. An increase of 5 scholarships in the area of medicine, and an increase of 2 scholarships in the area of veterinary medicine. So 19 arts and science increase, 5 medicine, and 2 veterinary medicine.
Explaining further, Minister Moses provided a breakdown of the value for individual scholarships. Every scholarship awardee in the medical program benefits from about $800,000 over the 4-year course. For veterinary and medical student scholarships are valued at just over $500,000 for the 4 years. Each beneficiary in the Arts and Science program received more than $290,000 in scholarship assistance, and for pre-med students, the scholarships is worth about $93,000 EC for the 1-year program.
The value of these 49 scholarships to the people of Grenada is EC $12 million. Value of $12 million. The 5 pre-medicine has a duration of 1 year each for each student, and the value there is EC $320,000. The 17 medicine scholarships, each has a duration of 4 years. The value is 12.3 million EC dollars. The veterinary scholarships has been increased to 3. It's a 4-year degree program, 4-year medical degree program, veterinary medicine. It has a value of 1.5 million EC dollars. So we have a total award of scholarship for this semester only of 26 million EC dollars from the St. George's University.
Education Minister Honorable Emmeline Pear said government and SGU must be commended for empowering thousands of Grenadian students through education.
When you look at the number of students in Grenada, young people, who are afforded an opportunity that they may have never had it not been for the government of Grenada, it tells me that this is something that we need to continue to do. So the number of doctors we have in our system who receive the scholarship through this government, we have to ask ourselves how many of their parents would have been able to sponsor them to go off on a medical scholarship. We just heard the cost per person for medical scholarship. And so what this tells me is that we should not take this lightly.
Government is optimistic that through its continued partnership with SGU, additional scholarships will be given for the second semester in August. Still with news in education, Education Minister Honorable Emmeline Pear commends the Grenada Union of Teachers for working with government to find an amicable solution to bring an end to the current work to rules at schools. Minister Pear on Tuesday explained to members of the media that the government is pleased with the progress made so far within the education sector. Since 2019, the union has instructed its membership to adhere to a work-to-rule initiative, which saw the cancellation of key curricular and extracurricular activities at the schools. Minister Pear commended the union in appreciating and supporting government's mandate of teacher and student development.
The union was saying to the ministry, we are concerned about the standards in the education system. If there was a special medal to be awarded to unions for seeking the interests of the development of the education sector, I will give it to the Grenada Union of Teachers. What I've seen over the past couple months in engaging the union is a union that understands, under the new executive, that we ought to fight for the benefits of teachers. That's a given. That's our responsibility. But while we do that, we must also fight to ensure that we lift the standards of the education system. I commend them. I applaud them. It takes a lot to impress me. I'm extremely impressed that the union has taken that approach.
According to Minister Pear, there are still questions about whether government owes money to teachers who engages in industrial action for 9 days in 2019 under the premise of rest and reflection. She said government has no obligation to honor the request to pay salaries, since rest and reflection is not a legitimate act of protest.
We can only work with what is contained in the laws of Grenada when it comes to industrial action. So the law speaks about red and ban. It speaks about go slow. It speaks about strike. Nowhere contained is rest and reflection. And the government has been consistent. We cannot honor rest and reflection as an industrial action. It exists nowhere. And to date, we have not been able to find anywhere, nor has the union been able to present us with anything that justifies rest and reflection. Therefore, the government remains consistent that the government has no obligation to refund any monies to any teacher who said that I was on rest and reflection. We continue to ask, what is this?
Minister Pear says the union and government are currently in dialogue to make work to rule a thing of the past.
We have a responsibility to work together to build the education system. And in that regard, the government of Grenada, through the Ministry of Education and the union, has been discussing how is it can we put ourselves in a position where we put ourselves ahead of, putting work to rule behind us and moving on. We have been in some serious discussions over the last few months, and I believe we are closer to the end than we are to the beginning of this. We continue to dialogue. I'm not going to say at this stage what the content of those discussions happen to be, but what I say to you is that we have made significant progress working together with the union, and I look forward very soon to a total resolution of this matter, understanding that we are consistent, that we did not deduct pay that we are supposed to return on the grounds that the union was on industrial action during that period.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
8 p.m. sharp. 8 p.m. sharp. Saturday, January 25th at the Sutters Bus Terminal. It's the final of the National Celebrations Committee Independence Calypso Monarch Competition 2020. 11 artists have been selected to challenge the reigning monarch. Show us the sour support. Admission free. Come out in your numbers and witness for yourself. Will sour support hold on to his reign, or will Rootsman Kelly, Teacher Eddie, Hawks, Stunner, Zena, Gun, Katura, The Reporter, Denson, Professor Shaggy, or Royalty rise to the occasion? Only time will tell. Remember the date, Saturday, January 25th, 8 p.m. Sutters Bus Terminal. It's the final of the Independence Calypso Competition.
Welcome back. 5 designs of Grenada national wear will be unveiled during the 2020 Independence celebrations. That's according to Culture Minister Senator Nolan Cox. He made the announcement on Tuesday during the government's weekly post-cabinet briefing. The Ministry of Culture, together with the Grenada Cultural Foundation, has been working since 2019 to create a national wear for both male and females. Designs will be showcased and final agreements will be reached as to which one will become the Grenada national wear.
For Independence, 5 designs will be unveiled for Independence, and thereafter those designs will be subjected to public voting methodology for a final selection. So you'll hear more on this development going forward. There's been a lot of call that when persons go out in the diaspora to represent Grenada, we do not have a national wear. And so the Ministry of Culture, together with the Foundation, we have been working on this to finally have a national wear for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Matlick.
Various activities are being organized for the 46th Independence celebrations, which will commence on Saturday, January 25th, with an island-wide motorcade. The annual Independence Rally will be held on February 7th, and 11 finalists will be competing in the Independence Calypso competition, which will take place in St. Patrick at the bus terminal on Saturday.
On Saturday, the 1st of February, we move to the Grenville car park, where we have the cultural extravaganza. Last year it was fantastic. A lot of artists, a lot of performances. It was a wonderful extravaganza we had in Grenville, and this year we expect no less but better than what happened last year. And so we want to thank Seydou, who has been working with the celebrations committee to ensure that these festivals this activity come off to be a successful one. On Sunday the 2nd, we have our ecumenical service at the Catholic Church in St. Paul's. For persons within that area and surrounding area can come and celebrate with us as we give thanks and praise for yet another anniversary of our independence. I think it's important that we do that, and that setting is dedicated towards us being there to celebrate and to give thanks for 46 years as an independent nation.
And finally, vehicle owners are reminded that the Royal Grenada Police Force will be conducting inspection from January 2nd to June 30th. Sergeant Anthony Calise, attached to the Traffic Department, during an interview with GIS, said the inspections will be done in all parishes, including Carriacou. Persons are encouraged to act early in having their vehicles inspected, as to allow ample time for any changes that may become necessary to ensure compliance with other provisions of the Motor Vehicles Road Traffic Act. He highlighted what is expected from the vehicle owners when presenting their vehicles for inspection.
When carrying a vehicle for inspection, it must be presented in a thoroughly clean condition, and it must be recently overhauled. Yeah? All parts must be in good order and functionable. Example, your tires supposed to be good, your handbrake supposed to be working, your horns, your lights, your wipers, the body condition of the vehicle should also be good. Yeah? There should be no colored lights. your muffler should have a proper silencer. You know, some vehicles are made quiet and some is made to make noise. So if your vehicle is a quiet vehicle, we don't expect you to come and inspect with it making noise and disturbing the whole place. It have to be in accordance with the manufacturer's standard.
Sergeant Callis encouraged the motorists to continue to work with the police force as they work towards ensuring safety on the nation's roads.
I would like to thank the motorists for their cooperation for last year.
Okay.
And I beg of them to continue giving us that good support. And those who are not supporting, we like them to get on board. Yes, because we're all in these things together. And I'll advise them as well, you know, stop using the illegal things. You know, if you know that the light is not approved by the law, you should not go about using it.
And with that story, we come to the end of the National Report for Tuesday, January 21st, 2020. On behalf of the entire news and production team, I'm Sherron Noel, thanking you for viewing.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Conveniently located in the Grandstand Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grenadans will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Alrighty, folks, alrighty. I'll tell you what. Here I am on bended knees, asking you to please bear with me this morning. There are a lot of comments there, starting with a talk about Guddays and including the National Report. A lot of comments. But in the interest of time, and I just don't want to keep this lady waiting. See, there she is, Sherron. I don't want to keep Sherron waiting, and she and I have a lot of things to talk about. So please bear with me if we go directly to Ms. Roberts. Good morning, ma'am. Why am I not? Oops. Why am I not hearing you? Hold on a sec. Are we hearing you now?
I'm not too sure. Are you hearing me
Yes,
now?
I'm hearing you now, loud and clear, Sharon. Sharon, first of all, man, I thought about you a couple of days ago when we had these rough seas pounding the shoreline here.
Boy, isn't
you saw
that
that?
something? Yes, I saw it.
Yeah?
I'd love to know what's really happening because I've never seen the sea like that.
I don't think it's still there, but there was a system to the west of us that was really pounding supposedly the western seaboard and the northern coastline. But it looks like it's gone right now. But I could sit here, man, and see the waves pounding on Quarantine Point down there.
Yes, and at the cruise boat terminal,
see
that was
that?
terrible.
Come on.
Yeah, so.
Anyway, that's over.
You remember in 1999, I think it was the 17th of November 1999, Hurricane Lenny was in the Caribbean
That's
Sea
right.
and came and gave a backhand slap.
That's right.
You know?
I remember that very well.
I was in Pitamatic at the time and that destroyed the western coast.
Really?
Yeah, it was really bad.
I will never forget that one. Anyhow, Sharon, boy, we have a lot to talk about this morning. First of all, what have you got up your sleeve?
Well, trying to live a stress-free life, taking things easy. That's one of my things. Just for today, do not worry. Just for today, do not anger. Do not be angry. But you know, I am human. And as much as I'm a Reiki master, I'm human. So on Monday, I gave my power over to someone who got me so angry that yesterday I was flat out angry. And this morning I woke up and I said, what day is it today? Before I go to bed, come out of bed, you know, I do my devotions and thank God for the day. And then I said, what am I thanking God for? Which day? What day is it today? And I said, Wednesday. I said, I'm with George this morning. So get up on the right foot, get over whatever stress. And I dealt with the situation and I said, what was that about? Because, you know, when you're angry, you give your power over to the person who is controlling you because you're now angry and you're out of sorts. And I had a headache, and for the first time in as long as I could remember, I was flat out in bed. And my household was so worried because they know I'm a person that on my feet 24/7. You know, the other night we didn't have water for the whole day, and water came about 11 o'clock the night, and I spent the night washing and cleaning, and by the time I was ready to go to bed, it was 6 o'clock, so I didn't see the point in going to bed. So I was up for like more than 24 hours, which is not good, but sometimes it's necessary. And to see me in bed, you know, but it's a good day, it's good to be alive. We say thanks and we make the best of it.
Despite the stress, we have a lot to be thankful for.
Amen.
You know, this morning I got up, took a look outside there, saw these two large cruise ships down there, and I said, yeah, man, I'm happy for the vendors. Because yesterday I think we had 3, and today we're seeing a lot of cruise visitors and big ships.
And where I live, every now and then, once you hear beep, 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 you know that's a coach reversing, because they do day tours right across the street from me.
Oh,
so
that's right. You're next to
the La Grenada industry. So I get the effect of the cruise ships.
Okay.
So
there's something I really want to talk to you about, because you posted something on my SWGG WhatsApp forum. And this had to do with the reaction to Mia Motley's address the other day, where she was talking about she didn't want any part of dividing the Caribbean, and suggested that maybe the United States may be trying to divide the region.
Right.
All right. Well, I read a piece this morning, I don't know if you heard it, but what's your take on what's going on?
Well, let's back up a little bit.
All right.
Somebody asked on your side just now which countries were not invited to Jamaica.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would say go back, I'm not sure if it's about a year ago, where you had chosen countries invited to something at the State Department.
Yeah.
You had a picture of the Prime Minister of Jamaica and some other countries. And if you note, the ones missing were Grenada, Trinidad, Barbados, and Antigua. Well, I have not seen anything from Grenada's Prime Minister.
Neither have I.
But I have seen in the same article where Trinidad says they're not going to send anybody, I've seen them mention that Grenada is not sending anybody either.
Right.
But I have not seen the Grenada Prime Minister saying we're not sending anybody.
I have not seen that either.
And apparently Antigua has now joined them, because Gaston Browne is saying that he's not sending anybody either. Those were the countries that were not invited to Washington about a year ago. So from that first time, you would ask, why are they trying to divide the Caribbean? If you either invite all or you invite none.
That's Mia's attitude.
Right. So I agree with her. Totally agree with her.
You know, this lady, she's only just assumed the role of chairmanship of CARICOM. But I'll tell you what, she's won a lot of hearts.
And she's a lady, but she has more kahunas than all the male in the Caribbean.
Kahunas. Like group. No. Yeah. She has won a lot of admiration. And, you know, hopefully she's going to bring about some change in the governance in the region. Because let me tell you, we have a bunch of people who are in charge of governments in the Caribbean that, you know, you can't help but roll your eyes.
And you know, one of the reasons is because they have their hands like that all the time.
Yeah.
You know? So, and those who didn't see my hands, they're begging all the time. So she standing up to a lot of things. And you know, there are people who are not going to like her for that, for speaking her mind. But that is the only way you could go. You should go.
If only a few more had the intestinal fortitude
that
she has.
Yes. And we have a lot of stuff in the public domain that you can check. The thing I referred to is interesting. A couple years ago, it was the Prime Minister of Barbados from the same political party as Mia Motley, that's Owen Arthur, who stood up against signing Article 98. And those of you who want to know what it is, it's in the public domain, so you could Google it and see what it's all about. I'm not going to go further.
Okay. Google it. What do they Google?
Article 98 agreement.
Article 98 agreement.
Yeah, it is so public that that's all you have to do. And it's in the public domain, so I'm not being unfaithful to anybody or anything like that.
We, this morning, have been on a bit of a topic here about goo-goo.
Gru, hard times.
Let me hear you. Okay, I was just going to ask you your definition.
You know, and it's funny, but this morning one of my nephews mentioned the word gru. A gru tree has like the thorns on a rose tree. You know, a rose bush they call it. It's not a tree, it's a bush. You have all these thorns.
Right, yeah.
So old people say, monkey know better than to climb gru tree because of all the thorns, you know. So in other words, people know better than to interfere with some people. Because you may look quiet, but when they interfere with you, they'll see a side of you they didn't know.
You know, as a child, I often heard my family, my parents use the term gru days.
Yes.
Meaning hard times.
Yes.
Okay. But I was never able to tie that with a tree until Margaret came up here this morning. And
it's a very hard nut. So there are a number of proverbs that would relate to the gru tree. And Anthony DeRiggs might be able to give us even a few more.
Margaret was suggesting that here as well.
Well, look at that. And there's another thing I want to ask. As I say, Anthony DeRiggs, is he here?
He was. Came to see me a few weeks ago, but he's
No. I mean, like this week. I saw him post something about the sea, and I'm wondering if he's here.
No.
Yesterday.
Anthony's not here. He's not going to be back until summer. He's launching a new book in summer sometime.
Okay.
But Anthony keeps an eye on everything weather-wise.
Yes.
Don't wait on the Met Office to tell you what's going on in the Atlantic out there. And if a wave goes more than an inch above what it should be in this place, Anthony knows about it and he sends out something on Messenger.
Right.
So everybody knows.
Okay. Okay, I thought he was here. But yes, gru is interesting. You've ever had a gru? You ever tried to crack a gru nut?
No.
Oh, it's as hard as anything you ever come across. And you can't hit it with a hammer because it's wrong and it may end up hitting you.
Okay.
And they have one from the sea as well, which comes up on the shore, and it's a sea gru.
Mm-hmm.
And inside of it is like coconut.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
John here, I didn't know John knows about zooty. John says, Sherron, zooty is the same. It has a pretty white inviting flower.
Yes.
Yet it bites you if you get too close.
Tell me about it. I have a vine right outside my front gate that I can't seem to get rid of. And the other day I went to trim the branch because another plant there was coming over into the gate. Trim it, and the rest of the day I'm like, what's this? And then I realize it's a zooty branch in there.
Boy, zooty was bad, eh?
Ooh, that could itch.
I suffered as a child. Yeah.
But vinegar gets rid of it real quick. So I took a handful of vinegar and just rub it down, and in no time I was
They say the same thing if you get stung in the sea by a manawar, or who was it? I think it was Ray yesterday who was talking about sea ants.
Yes. Ray got bitten by sea ants. That means he pee in the sea. All people say is when you pee in the sea ants come and they bite you.
Ryan Jaban says, I have eaten gru paracap, but not the kernel. So you eat gru.
The top of it, yes, it's a yellow, kind of sticky.
Okay. Bradley Vespre says, gru made beautiful jewelry in my days. Do you know about that?
Not too sure. No.
Okay. So, gru is obviously a well-known tree. Thanks for starting that conversation, Max. Margaret says, Sherron, yes, that is true about sea ants and pee.
All people say, and I guess they know exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah. Actually, I was told that when stuff like that, when you get bitten in the sea, that's what you're supposed to do on the wound.
Pee on it.
Pee on it.
Yeah.
But
if you get stuck if you get stuck by the sea egg, the black sea egg, they say you call somebody and quickly make them I don't know what it
Force
is.
somebody to pee on me?
Yeah.
No.
For headache too, for migraines.
On my head? No, Sharon. No.
George, in your spare time, look up the benefits of urine. No, seriously. You remember when chikungunya was going around?
Yeah.
I had the worst case of chikungunya. The doctors here didn't know what to do. They said they wanted to put me on steroids, but the steroids would cause my blood sugar to rise, and then they would have to give me more steroids to keep the blood sugar down, and I just came to the conclusion that that is totally ridiculous. I used up so much hydrocortisone, it is not funny. And then I remember it was what date is today?
Wednesday.
The 20 what?
22nd.
22nd. Okay, so tomorrow is the 23rd. It was the day that my nephew was buried, and or rather it was the date of his funeral. And I came back and I was home and I was dying because my whole body was itching me and I didn't know what to do. And I was sitting out in my front yard. My son actually took a bottle of vinegar and he said, "Mommy, let me wet you down with this because..." And my brother Vincent called and he said, "Sherron, read up about the benefits of urine." And I read up about it, and they said that you catch your morning urine, like you start, and then you stop and you catch it, and bathe with it, wait 5 minutes, and then bathe with a gentle soap, like a baby soap. After the second time, all itching stopped. And by the fourth day, my skin was clearing up. Some people drink it and all that, but I don't. I never drank it. But you can drink your own urine.
Judy Benoit says, Guru was that fruit of the day when I was in school, together with stinking toe. Stinking toe. Oh my God.
Yes.
Where you guys come from this morning? Stinking toe. I remember that as well.
Yes.
She says, George, you too young to know these goodies. Well, thank you, Judy. I appreciate that. Very sweet of you. Getting back to the peeing part, you know, up until about 20 years ago, I used to do tours on the Rum Runner, and we would take, you know, hundreds of people down to BBC and take them snorkeling. And I often worried about people peeing in the water. When we arrive at BBC Beach, you take the people down to the end of the beach by Lacroix, put them to stand in the water, and you brief them before you take them out snorkeling. Sometimes you're standing there in the water, and suddenly, ooh, you just feel some warmth on your foot or your legs, and you know somebody or a few people. Now, Sherron, when you have 100+ people with you snorkeling, there's a lot of that stuff being dumped in the water. And this was happening at a time when AIDS was very prevalent, okay? And I understood at the time that AIDS could be transmitted through body fluids, like urine and so on. So I always worried because, Sherron, after we briefed these people at the end of the beach, we all had to put, we're going snorkeling, we all had to put our faces down in that water.
Oh my God.
I never got AIDS.
And you know, if you think about that, it's just so off-putting. So you better not think about it, especially if you have to do it, if it's your job and you're being paid to do it.
Yeah. Joycey Smith says, thank you for this using info, Sherron. Yeah. What you're explaining about how to use urine and stuff like that. Anthea Rello says, I know that about the urine. So it's common knowledge.
So you could check it out.
Yeah.
The benefits of urine. Check that.
Google.
Useful benefits of urine.
Google
You'd be surprised.
Google knows everything.
Google knows everything.
That's how you wind up with a name like Cooper. Okay, my dear. So before we pull the plug here this morning, what else you got up your craw?
Well, this week I'm looking forward to, you should have the fishing tournament coming up and the sailing festival and stuff like that. All these good things happening in the wake of independence.
You know, both the fishing tournament and the
Sailing festival?
Sailing festival. For years, these people have constantly come and sit in the chairs that you're sitting in right now. I haven't heard from either of them this year.
It's very low key this year. Very.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
I'm not hearing anything about those. And those are pretty, well, at least the fishing tournament's pretty damn big.
Well, I'm more into the regatta part of it because I love regatta. I go to
down from Carriacou.
yeah. Well, Peter Martinique more than Carriacou. I'm sorry, John. I'm not a big fan of Carriacou, but.
Speaking about Carriacou, yesterday Peter Bishop was trying to remind me that it's time for another visit to Carriacou.
Is he here?
No, right now. I think this morning he's freezing his buns off. And,
okay, because I know he's in and out.
Yeah, a lot.
Yes.
A lot. When this guy works.
When you least expect it, you bounce him up in the beach or somewhere.
Yeah. Ryan Jaman says, don't worry, Gigi. Seawater kills viruses. Ah, thanks. I suspected that because if AIDS, I'm sure of the 100,000 plus people I've taken snorkeling, I am sure that some of them dumped some AIDS in that water, and I haven't suffered from AIDS. Benedict Cador says, they also told us that the salt content of the seawater cleared most of the impurities. You guys are making sense. I really believe you. Hilda Wells says, urine also good to soak your feet for swelling.
Really? That's interesting.
How did we get on this?
But it makes good sense. Use it. It's yours.
I don't think I've ever done a program like this before. Yeah. Okay, Sherron. Enough pee talk for the morning.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you looking forward to independence?
I'll look at it from my living room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I can't tell you the last time I've been to an independence celebration down at the park. It's just that there seems to be no excitement about it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
One would have thought that, you know, people would be happy to be independent, but then again, perhaps you ask yourself the question, are we really independent?
And the celebrations are different now than they used to be. I remember I used to like going, but as I get older, you know, the crowds, to me, almost senseless crowds. You see, you'll find me where there's cricket and the Marsh Gras and Panorama. That's 3 events you will find me. And in the case of the Marsh Gras and Panorama, you have to look right up on the front line. I'm normally right against the fence. Other than that, like crowds for independence, you see better if you're at home.
Yeah.
You know, you watch television and you could see what's going on, but when you're in the park with so much people, you can't even really see what's happening.
And once upon a time, I think one of the big attractions was having the Venezuelan Air Force or their Navy or whoever do these displays, and we haven't seen that in a little while.
No, we haven't.
But anyhow, I understand, again, it seems kind of low-key, but I understand that they have begun planning for this year's activity.
And they normally have it in the afternoon now instead of in the morning. When you have it like 9 o'clock in the morning, you get a kick out of seeing people faint and all this kind of thing.
You get a kick out of seeing people faint. Sure, I'm out of here. People fainting, people peeing, Swollen feet?
Interesting.
As I read this, sometime towards the end of last year, I had a problem where my right foot was just very swollen. No pain, no nothing, it was just swollen.
Yeah.
So I went to see a doctor about it. And this doctor, he freaked me out. He says, you know what Vicks is? I said, yeah, the stuff you're supposed to rub on your chest when you have a cold. He said, yeah, that's Vicks. He says, when you leave here, go by the pharmacy, pick up a little bottle. Go home and rub your foot with Vicks. And I thought, Vicks for a swollen... Well, he's a doctor. I'm not. So I did what the man said. 2 days, gone. 2 days, Vicks.
Well, guess what? That's the same properties in pea. So, was it Anthony Rollo? Who was it who said about ankles for swollen ankles?
No, that swollen ankles, hold on here. Hilda Wells says, soak your feet for swelling.
Well, look at what's in Vicks. You have the menthol and all this.
There's menthol in pea?
Well, it's more than likely the same thing. You smell it. So it makes sense. It makes good sense.
Boy. Judy Benoit says, it's the menthol in the Vicks, George Grant.
Ha ha. I just said it.
I didn't know that. Folks, thank you so much for teaching me all the stuff you taught me here this morning. I'm ready to write an essay.
A lot of it is what old people hand down, eh? Your
Yeah.
parents, your grandparents, and so hand down from you. And they had so much sense. They knew, you know, these people didn't go to universities and whatnot,
Yeah.
but they had it.
You ever heard of something called flannel?
Yes.
Okay. I used to be an asthmatic.
And you
big
were?
time as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother insisted on wearing flannel, me wearing flannel.
It's just to keep your chest warm.
But prickly, 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 prickly.
But why she get it prickly one?
I don't know, but that's what she got me.
She wanted to keep you on the straight and narrow because they have flannel that's not prickly, you know, and the same thing goes now for if you're coughing, and I use it on my now grandson a lot. As soon as you hear a little cough, you take the same Vicks and you rub the arch of the feet and you put on some socks. Coughing gone.
You hear a cough, you have a cough, so you rub the soles of your feet.
You rub the arch of your feet, where the old people think that has to do with your lungs. That's a connection to your lungs. And you have a headache, you massage your big toe. And you rub your feet, put on some socks, keep your feet warm, just like the flannel kept your chest warm.
Well, yes, my mom did insist on rubbing my feet with the Vicks.
And that's it.
Well, you know, it obviously worked. Because, I mean, I stopped having asthma. I had asthma from the age of 2 weeks until I was about 12 years old. And now I'm 68, so I guess it's worked.
My grandson's, he was having asthma, I guess from the moment he was born. He was breathing this kind of old man breathing, sighing, and so on. The doctor recognized that he was having asthma. And by the time he was like 18 months old, he was swimming. I remember us getting a kit for him to put over his nose and all that. And he never had to use it because he was swimming. His lungs developed, and he hasn't had asthma for a good almost 6 years.
And supposedly it's an allergy, eh? Because I was born at this hospital here, and when I was 2 weeks old, I went to Grenville and started having asthma, and it went away when I came back to St. George's when I was 12 years old. And we found out that apparently I had an allergy to a tree called Gloricida.
Uh-huh.
You know that tree?
Yep.
It's about this time of the year that it blossoms, okay?
Yeah.
And boy, that thing almost killed me. I think I was about 70 years old. One night I was having an attack, and I lay there in bed. Mom called the doctor about 9 o'clock at night, and I heard the doctor tell my mom, Miss Graham, I can't do nothing more. Call the priest.
Meaning you're gonna die?
Meaning I was gonna die. 7 years old. And that was, it was shortly after that I decided I wanted to become a priest. Okay, that's another
So
story.
your mother didn't know about marijuana, I guess.
My mother, marijuana?
What? Listen, an old lady, she was the grandmother of Tobias Clement. She said to me once, I told her one of the children was breathing funny, like they had asthma. And she said, you get some marijuana bush, the green bush, you draw it, you boil it down, you take out the bush, you add sugar, and you make a syrup. Give that child a syrup. I remember I came back from England, I can't remember the year, but my nephew was about 3 to 4 years old, one of my nephews, and he was having an asthma attack. It is so frightening to see children breathe with this asthma attack. That was the first time I'm really seeing this. And I thought he was dying. I didn't know where to get marijuana. So I went to the police and I told them, I know you all have marijuana, that you might have raided somebody. Can I have some? The reaction was, are you crazy? I said, no, I want to boil some to help a child that's having asthma. They sent a police officer with me. He got the marijuana and he came to my house and watched me boil it. I boiled it, took out the inside, add the sugar, just like the little old lady told me, and I boiled it down. And he said his daughters have asthma, so he took a bottle. We gave this child a teaspoon in the morning, a teaspoon in the evening, and right now he's a grown man living in Canada. I don't think any place gets colder than that place. No asthma.
Does he still have a buzz?
He don't have the slightest. I just got here. He hasn't had asthma, and he was here in August, and I asked him, I said, do you ever have asthma? He said, never. I said, look at that.
I wish I'd known about that
So,
back then.
it's not as if you're drinking it to get high. You drink it, and he never had it after the second occasion. They never gave him because he was fine. So these old people, somebody need to be writing down all these information that they give us.
All right, here are a couple of comments. Bradley Vespre says, drinking urine would have worked for your asthma, George.
Okay. I don't know about that.
Ryan Jabon says, Chinese medicine, the sole of the feet are connected to the lungs.
To the body, to the whole body. Depends on which part of the foot.
Okay. Well. Folks, you don't waste your time when you come to watch Gudday Grenada. By the way, do me a favor, please. We're still waiting on Facebook. We still do not have access to the Grenada Broadcast Facebook page, which is where you found out about this, okay? As a result, we're not able to put anything up there saying, hey, we're on my timeline. Do me a favor, share this and explain to your friends that, hey, George has been having some technical difficulties, he's been hacked. We're trying right now, my IT man and me are trying to decide whether or not we should keep the old site up or put another one up. Sherron suggested this morning that we call it Grenada Broadcast 2. We're going to decide on that very shortly. But please, let your family and friends know that we are on every day. We haven't missed the program. We are on every day. So if you go to Grenada Broadcast, Facebook, Grenada Broadcast, at the top of the menu there, you see George. Just click on that. You're right in. Okay? Help us. Ryan Jabon says, marijuana roots soaked in river and twine rum, 30 cc's, I guess 30 cc's of river and twine, cuts chest congestion.
Oh. Interesting. You see, this is an educational program.
This is the Gudday Grenada Pharmacy. We're doing better than the General Hospital.
I tell you.
Judy Benoit says for asthma, Judy says for asthma, water with a lizard soaked in it. My grandmother's recommendation back in the days, yes. They tried that on me, Judy.
Yes.
They tried, I can't say that it worked or not, but yes, I heard this thing about soaking a lizard in water and giving somebody to drink.
You boil the lizard, I know.
Margaret Francis says she remembers that too.
Yeah, me too.
The lizard?
That and for stammering. As if a child that's stuttering, you put the lizard in the cold water and you bring it to a boil, and then you put it in a mortar, and you pong it with the pestle. You pong the water, and you give it to the child to drink, and that loosens up his tongue, and he stopped the stammering.
So all the insides of the lizard?
No, you're not ponging the lizard. You're ponging the water. You boil the lizard, you throw the lizard out, because the lizard is now dead.
And then you pong the water?
You pong the water. And I guess all the substances, because what you use a mortar and a pestle for, to pong salt, in those days, remember, it's coarse salt. So I think what they're really doing is the salt from the mortar gets into the water, you strain it out, and you give the child to drink.
Kipling Francis says, Judy, it works better in coconut jelly water.
Yes.
You read that too?
Yes.
Don't make me stop loving coconut water. As much as I do.
They're not lizard in your coconut water.
Joyce C. Smith says, lizard soaked in coconut water.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you guys weren't around when I was a youngster. Sherron, this time, gone. Gone. You guys have me charged up for the rest of the day. I can't take any more. Wow. Okay, pilgrims, I'll tell you what. Let us take a look at today's inspirational word, which comes to you from the book of Lamentations. Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 to 31. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. I say to myself, the Lord is my portion. Therefore, I will wait for him. The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him. It is good to wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for a man to bear the yoke while he's young. Let him sit alone in silence, for the Lord has laid it on him. Let him bury his face in the dust. There may yet be hope. Let him offer his cheek to one who would strike him, and let him be filled with disgrace. For no one is cast off by the Lord forever. Sure gives you hope, doesn't it? Folks, make a note. Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 to 31. Okay, let me see here. Ryan is saying goodbye and blessings to Georgia and Sherron. Okay, that's it, folks. Thank you so much. It's been fun. after the kind of night I had last night, it was so great to be able to sit here and laugh my head off with you guys this morning. Thank you very, very much. So, on that note, Georgie Porgy is going to say bonsoir, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning at 9.